Impact Wrestling.
I'm sure you looked at the thumbnail and you looked at the name of this video going, what? You titled it like that? Uh-huh. This was a good show. Now, mind you, I'm going to say this right now. I'm saying it now. The ending of this show, the last match, did piss me off. And I'll explain why. Does not mean it was a bad match. It just kind of pissed me off. A little bit. But I will say, overall, the show was okay. It was good. First match, we had Jonathan Gresham and the Speedball Mike Bailey versus the Motor City Machine Guns. And I was not fond of this at first. I really thought, oh no. They're going to do what the WWE does? Can they coexist? Wouldn't it be good? This is what I was thinking as the match was going into the mic 5 minutes in. Wouldn't it be great that they did not win? Because I'm not in the mood to see the Motor City Machine Guns, who's not only the Impact champs, but also the New Japan Pro Strong champs, job to Gresham and Speedball. That would look stupid. But then, normally when they do stuff like this, kind of like can they coexist, they're expected to win. Or they're expected to have a fight between one another and then expected to lose. To my surprise, good match. The person that I love the most in this match is not Speedball. Doesn't mean I don't like him. I do like Speedball. I've gotten used to the shin pads, shin guards now. I really do believe it would be better he didn't have them. But due to the fact the way he kicks, he has to wear them because he's going to hurt somebody or hurt himself. He's got to do it. His style requires those shin pads. It's Jonathan Gresham. Guys, the octopus, he's my boy. He's a sawed-off. He is the true embodiment of Wolverine. You are looking at him right there. That is a sawed-off runt. Right there, that is a Wolverine who will rip your face off. Now, his wife, Jordan Grace, is the female version of a Wolverine. Let's be honest. If Wolverine was a female, there you go. If Wolverine was a male, there you go. Oh my gosh. What will happen when they have kids? That kid is going to have the great aspects of his mom and his father. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. That kid is going to grow up into something. I don't know what. It's going to be either, if it's got the genes from his mom, a very strong power lifter, whether it's a guy or a girl. Or a very good sense of wrestling like their father. Damn! That's going to be a second generation wrestler a lot of people are going to look for. But we do have a very good match. And Jonathan is my boy. I like how his style is, his attitude is. He literally, from Chris Sabin, when he started doing forearm shiver, I don't have the shot, but he was eating them. He literally was leaning straight into those bitches, and he didn't stop until finally the match was ended. And it was, well, I'm not too glad that, I believe it was, who ate the pin? I forgot who it was. I think it might have been Jonathan who ate the pin. I'm not sure. But even though he ate it, it doesn't really hurt him. Or even Speedball for that matter, if it was Speedball who ate it. They're going to have a good match. But I will say, and this is a critique for me, not to everyone else, because everyone thought probably this was a great match. It was awesome. And also, Jonathan Gresham having a match with Speedball at the Impact Plus show is going to be great. But for me personally, where Impact still has an issue where they just don't build very good into the Impact Plus shows all the time, or the main shows for that matter, this was so short notice. It doesn't feel like it's complete. It feels like it needed another 2 weeks or 3 weeks of build before tomorrow, and that's the problem for me personally. Now, Beat the Clock Challenge. I'm going to do them back to back. The Beat the Clock Challenge, when it came to Tommy versus Hunch of the Good Hands, and Bully Ray versus Gunjer. I'll tell you this. This concept of doing Busted Open on the Impact Plus show is interesting. It's not like everyone does it often, particularly a reputable podcast that's on XM, I believe it's XM Satellite, and it's a wrestling podcast for that matter, where two well-known and pretty much Hall of Famers. Yeah, not WWE Hall of Fame, unfortunately for Tommy. I don't believe he's ever going to get it. Maybe he might. He might get it, but pretty much. You got two reputable wrestlers who are Hall of Famers in their own rights. You don't get that often outside the WWE. You just don't. Not at least that is done well enough. And we know both these guys can really do a story pretty well. Now, the story behind Beat the Clock was simple. Santino Marella made it very clear. Busted Open's going to be on. Whoever wins the Beat the Clock quicker gets to speak first. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. Now, when it came to Hunch, he jobbed his bitch ass out within 1 minute and 15 seconds. Even though they did an okay spot of a Death Valley driver off the stop. Well, look, Tommy can't really go the way he used to in the ring. It's not that he's terrible in the ring. He just doesn't have that kind of endurance and stamina like he used to. He just isn't. Look, he's no older than me. I'm almost 52 this year. Yeah. Look at this young, about to say handsome face. I got an ugly ass face. I got an ugly face. But I'm 52. Tommy's what, 50, 51? He's just maybe the same age as me or slightly younger because it's within the same month within the next couple of months. Either his birthday is going to be first or mine. He may turn 51 or 52. I believe he'll turn 51 this year, and I'm turning 52. So he can't really go very long. Anyway, when next to the Beat the Clock challenge, he can't do the type of spots like he used to. He just can't. So it's 1 minute and 15 seconds. Bully Ray comes out. Gunja comes out. The Good Hands come out. And in the end, a wrap around the hand. I don't know if I got the shot. If it is, it's in my face. One shot in the hand to the face of Gunja. He's laid out. Done. He's finished within what? It was 52 seconds that Bully Ray won. So he gets to talk first. Now, here's where it gets interesting. How is this going to go down on this Busted Open Radio special that is on the Impact Plus show? Will it lead to a match that's going to define them both? Maybe going into Slammiversary. Yes, it's several months away. Let's make this clear. I think Rebellion is the next. No, is it? Rebellion's the next pay-per-view, I believe, in the cycle. So maybe they're setting this up for Rebellion. I believe it's in March, Rebellion. So this could be setting up something special for Rebellion. Hopefully. They will talk. Then there will be a stip set up. And at Rebellion, I believe it is, they will have a signature match. Let's go from there. I really do wish there was Nick Aldis because he was messing with Mickie James. I wouldn't mind seeing Nick on Impact TV for a couple of weeks. Come on. Nick, why not? I'm not saying that Impact Wrestling is going to drag you back down. Well, you can't be 100% a lie because some of the people that he had an issue with, because if you did see Chris Rambleen's video of him, his third video, I think he did it twice before. He did 3 videos. The final one was just slightly after he left NWA. He said there were some people there that gave him issues. And as I've said before, the major problem with Impact Wrestling is mismanagement. And most of the staff, they need to go. Even though they're doing okay shows now, with proper camera work and audio, does not mean there aren't people still there that could be an issue. I wish they weren't, but there you go. Let's move on. The Beat the Clock is now done. Let's go to the Taya versus Allison Kay match. Now, it's not like these two don't know each other. They've wrestled each other before in Impact Wrestling and on the Indies. They know each other well. And I gotta say this. I am glad to see the Hex there. I'm glad to see Marty Bell. And I gotta say, Marty Bell in those tight blue pants. True. She looked sexy in those tight blue pants. I believe they were blue. They were blue pants and high heels. She was bang. She's always a very good looking woman. So is Allison. And I'm really glad Allison didn't die from that blood clot in her lung. If you don't know, one of the reasons why not many people saw Sienna on Impact Wrestling TV at one point wasn't just that her contract was done and she just left for a while. She actually had a blood clot in her lung where normally you die from it. And she managed to survive it. So I'm happy for her that she's still alive and she's still wrestling. So the deal here is this. I'm glad to see the Hex dealing with death dolls. I'm glad they have a story it's going with Rosemary. At least it's something that's going with the death dolls. Here's the problem. Why do you have the death doll, Taya Valkyrie, going against a Hex, Allison Kay? Could you not bring in outside workers, namely indie women, to job to them? Is it only Marsha Slamovich that gets that little gift? Tell me, wouldn't you rather see tag team action where they bring in women that might be on, AEW Dark or Elevation? They're still free agents. They can go anywhere they want. They're still free talent. They haven't been signed yet. They're being evaluated. So wouldn't it be nice if they were in Florida, that some of the talent that's been on AEW had actually shown up on Impact Wrestling, did some tag matches? Wouldn't it make the division feel more full instead of them having to do singles? I'm just saying, it's just disappointing to see that the women's, well, not women's, but basically the Knockouts tag titles basically not being defended with more women. I don't care what you say. If you say it's fine, it's garbage. Look what they're doing with WWE. Look what they're doing with NXT. Remember, I do reviews on both of them. Even though it is SmackDown and NXT I review. I don't really review Raw. They don't do nothing with their titles. I'm just saying. Now, let's do a little bit of the backstage segments. Did I enjoy the Joe Henry meet and greet video? Yes. There's not something you see all the time in that kind of format. And it's not that maybe WWE wouldn't do it because they've done it. Not that AEW wouldn't do it. They've done it. It's that they showed it and there was no fights. They were trying to put over Joe Henry with the fans. Perfectly fine. I'm glad it happened. You didn't need to have Moose come out and start fighting, which, yeah, that would be good. But sometimes you want to get one person over. Moose is already over. No matter how you feel about Moose, if you hate him or love him, he's been over for quite a while. And yes, he's in a low tier dealing with the Digital Media Championship, but it doesn't mean he can't make it, what I've been saying, relevant. You don't need to be in the main event to be relevant. You can be in the freaking undercard and be the most relevant people. Look what happened in one of the WrestleManias with who was it that was in that WrestleMania? It was Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. They stole the freaking show. And they were not the main event. They weren't. But they stole it. You don't always need to be in the main event to be relevant and hot or popped. I'm just saying. Now, here's the vid pack when it came to Mickey, Jordan Grace, and Marsha. Did I like it? Yes, I did. They gave time to Mickey James. They gave a little time to Jordan Grace, who was showing a lot of cleavage, which everyone loves. And we got more talking from Marsha. Yes, she's still speaking Russian. No problem. I'm just like this. I'm saying this. When it comes down to it, do I believe that Marsha's going to win? No. Should she win? Yes. I'm going to say this now. I'm saying it now after everything they supposedly did for Marsha for nearly a year, letting her squash everybody, but not giving her any type of character. No backstage segments, no in-ring segments, but one, and that was a couple of weeks ago, setting up for this match. Everything else was blank. And if anybody says she doesn't need it, you're wrong. We are talking about a semi-major promotion in Impact Wrestling where it's required to see you. And I remember more than one person saying, and I'll say it again, she's not Goldberg. I'm sorry. She's not. She's better looking than Goldberg, but she's not better than Goldberg. I'm sorry. She's not. So seeing her talk in Russian, I got no problem. Seeing that Jordan Grace got a chance to talk, I got no problem. Seeing that she wants a rematch, and she also, like I said in that very match, that she would bring up that Mickey tapped. That gives her a second chance to really question, did Mickey actually tap or not? There's a controversy like there. you're welcome. I did say it. You're welcome. If anybody remembered I said it. If you remember I said it, just leave a comment. But I'm glad they did do this. It was necessary. And particularly with Marsha. I'm glad she spoke. I'm glad they used subtitles like they did with Pentagon Jr. when he was there as a Lucha brother. I am glad to see they're giving her something now. When they should have been doing it back then, which pisses me off, I am glad they're doing it now. Let's see, what else? Let me give it to you like this. Seeing BTI, they did show BTI, which I'm glad they did show it. And when it came to Deonna Purrazzo, and pretty much she's pissed off at Gazelle Shaw for messing up everything and driving away her friend, which we're not saying Chelsea Green. I'm glad to see it. Now, seeing that they had the beatdown of who was the match she had? I don't know who she faced because I didn't see BTI. Maybe I'll see it after this. I do believe it's on Impact's channel right now, so maybe I'll watch the match. But when she was messed up and Vidal and Shaw was there with a bowl full of Look, I'm not telling anyone what they can't wear. Look, you can wear whatever the hell you want. Look, I wear whatever, okay? I'm not telling you got to wear a certain clothes when you're in the ring or when you're doing a segment or a spot or some type of skit. But let's be clear here. Gazelle Shaw, it don't make a difference how big these are. They're there. And whether you like it or not, guys, this is a woman. And whether you like it or not, her nips pop out of her top. And when it came to from that little short moment they had, you can see she was excited. And then the beans went on Vidal. They both clunked heads and, well, not clunked heads, but her face went into his shirt and his chest. And she got beans on her face and her body. I'm like, okay, there's a problem. I'm wondering if anyone noticed what I saw. Now, mind you, I'm a 52-year-old horny old man. And maybe that's the reason why I am. Or maybe I'm actually an observant wrestling reviewer who's telling you all the stuff that's going on that most reviewers will just glaze over because they think it's not necessary. That's the difference between me and just Alex, JD from New York, Solid Monster, the Sleg Daddy. I'm the type of person that just notices other stuff along with what's going on. And Gazelle Shaw wearing a white clothes, which probably was done on purpose because they wanted to have the beans be very apparent. She also got hard nips. And at one point, you could probably see dark spots right there. So I kind of wish she had more patches over her nipples. That she could have covered herself at least a little bit. But at least that's what I saw. Unless that was the patches themselves covering up her nips. That's what I saw in the shot. It was fine. Now the question is going to be, what will the Black Widow do against the Virtuosa? Which I do believe that's going to happen at No Surrender. They're going to have a match, I believe. Or they're going to set up a match around No Surrender going into Rebellion. I'm just saying. Let's move on. Let's see here. The tag match. Let me give it to you like this. When it came to Yurimura and Kaz, I liked them. Now, if I only had time to watch New Japan Pro Strong, so I can get a more understanding of how New Japan Pro Strong is, because I know that most of the people from Impact go to New Japan Pro Strong. When I did see, I gotta tell you this, I'm not doing a review of it, but I did see Kyrie versus Mercedes Moné. I did see it. I finally did see what they were talking about. And I chose not to do it because, one, it's pretty late now. And two, I want to see where they're going to go next. Particularly if I can see New Japan Pro Wrestling, the English version. So maybe I might be able to see more of her. But I thought you see more than a few guys from Impact there. Hell, you got Matthew Rinwald. He was doing commentary. So I'm going like, Impact is going to be making some inquiries to New Japan Pro Wrestling, asking if Mercedes Moné is going to come over there, because there's no way that they won't ask. And we know Mercedes, since she does have a contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling, we know sooner or later a few guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling come over to Impact. You may get Mercedes at Impact Wrestling eventually. May. Or, weirdly enough, I'm not saying she will. Because you got AEW working with New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact in their own separate situation with New Japan Pro Wrestling, you may actually see Mercedes there first, which would be kind of surprising, but it could happen. JD may not want to hear this, or just Alex, but you may get Mercedes there first, because not that Impact really gets first dibs on anybody. No. It just depends on the luck of the draw when it comes to Impact or AEW, way they negotiate. Because remember, negotiation between the two companies to New Japan Pro Wrestling is key. They can ask and maybe do some concessions, particularly when it comes to the multiverse of matches for Impact Wrestling or Forbidden Door for AEW. We're going to get them both. We know that now. So the question is going to be, who is going to be seeing Mercedes first? Would it be AEW first? And maybe their Forbidden Door pay-per-view? Or are we going to get the multiverse of matches first with Mercedes there, with Impact Wrestling? It just depends on which one comes first and which one gets priority. I'm just saying. Now, the match itself, when it came to Diener and Callahan working against Uemura and Kaz, was fine. But it's still a question, do they actually trust Callahan? That's going to be the biggest question. Can they trust him? Honestly, I don't even know if he's really meaning this, because he still will not really conform. Thumbs up! And he looks at him. And it's like, when are we going to get either him turning on them? Or when are he going to not only join them, but actually probably be the new leader of the design? Because my guess is this, that he's going to turn on them, which wouldn't be too surprising. Or, just like what happened with Diener dealing with Eric Young, eventually Diener will start screwing up, and Diener will hand over the design to Sami Callihan, as Diener got it from Eric Young. Eric Young to Diener, then Diener to Sami. And we'll see a different type of Sami Callihan. We'll see Sami, maybe, and we'll see him be the next design. That's what I think might happen. Or he'll just do what the regular face does and just fakes it. I'm hoping for the latter, but that's just me. And in the end, Sami did lose. But Diener made it very clear, you got two more shots left. Two more of the steps to become part of it. And no, you don't join the design chooses you. Makes it very clear that we don't trust you. This could still be a trick, but we're giving you this shot. You're getting these two more steps to the left. Join or not, this is what you get. Fine, I'm alright with that. And now, Trey chopped his cherry. I know it sounds so... I didn't know how to... What? Look. Let me explain this. Let me explain it before I start laughing again. When I was watching the match, when Trey went up against Crazy Steve, they were locked in the different rooms for 24 hours, as you know when it comes to Monsters Ball. They come out and they face each other and they start fighting. One, they made it very clear that Trey has never been in a Monsters Ball match, and Crazy Steve has. Two, this is the first time that the X Division has ever been defended in Monsters Ball, and that pissed me off. It actually did piss me off. It pissed me off that they weren't willing to wait until, I do believe, Rebellion's on the docket for the next pay-per-view before Slammiversary. And this is what we do it for. Just before an Impact Plus show, you give us a Monsters Ball for the X Division, a first-time match with two guys that have faced each other over the years, but in a new environment for one of them and an environment they're used to another. And I felt this was a wasted opportunity, that they could have set this up ahead of time and dragged it out. They could have had fights, they could have had situations, they could have done anything they could before Rebellion. Or hell, if they really need to put on Impact Plus, and if it wasn't with Josh dealing with Rick Swann, which I'll get to in a minute, I'm just like, they needed to leave this for a pay-per-view or the Plus show. Now, mind you, the match was great. I felt that this wasn't anything more substantial than any of the other really good Monsters Ball matches. Because in the 10 years 13 years I've been watching Impact. I've been watching it since 2010. Missed everything before. And that's mostly due to the fact I had no cable. Guys, I'm a guy who was living in New York City in the same place since 1998. And I had to turn off my cable because I couldn't afford it. I had too many bills. So all I saw were DVDs. So I didn't even know Impact existed until, 2007 or 8? When I got my first DVD of Genesis from 2006. So I never saw Impact before then. But what Monsters Balls I have seen for the last 13 years, some of them have been really good and a few have been stinkers. Or just average. This one was a good Monsters Ball match. It was. Seeing for the first time Trey go through a table in this type of environment was different. Seeing him dealing with thumbtacks. He's never dealt with thumbtacks before. And Trey probably made the conscious choice not to wear anything thick. Because usually in any type of hardcore match, because you see it from Mick Foley, you saw it from Crazy Steve, The Abyss, they always wear, at least in some areas, thick clothes to try and lessen the impact of either nails or tacks or barbed wire to a certain extent. They can't stop it. It's going to go through and it's going to hurt you. But they don't usually wear something too thin. One, it could tear very easily, and two, it doesn't give that much protection. Trey didn't do none of that. He was wearing very thin clothes. And that bitch went into so many tacks, screaming his ass off. I think I got one shot of him with 4 tacks in his back, like he's some type of android that looks like he's got to be plugged in. I think I got it. It's in my face. There it is. But he looked like he got plugged. It looks like they could be plugged into his back and he can be charged. It was a very good match. What was the girl? I forgot her name. Oh my goodness. It's been so long since I've seen the Abyss's 2x4 with those Janice. I haven't seen Janice in so long. I've forgotten her. And Crazy Steve pulled that sucker out of the archive and he said, "Ugh." And then and it's in my face, he sticks that bitch into his head. And I'm going like, let's see how Trey responds to this. Is he going to scream quiet? Is he going to scream loud? Or is he going to be screaming like someone stuck something up his ass? He took number 3. Yes, he did. And I commend him for it. Doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It did, I'm sure. And he started bleeding. Of course, he had to blaze himself, as you know. If you never heard of blazing. But I did enjoy this match. I could go back and watch it again. If it was possible to actually get that one match from the show, I'm going to probably get it. Not because it's absolutely one of the greatest Monsters Balls I've ever seen. No. But it is a first-time match for Trey. And it was a first-time match for the X Division that I kind of wish was up for a pay-per-view. Not kind of. I really do wish it was up for a pay-per-view because it does fucking piss me off. But not as bad as it is. Because this is what I was thinking. Like what's going on with Josh. And let me just say simply, the segment with Josh, Macklin, and Swann was very good. Seeing that Josh accidentally did say to Rich, "You don't got it in you," when he really meant, you don't got it in you to attack me like that. That's just not your personality. But Rich get pissed off about it, thinking he doesn't have it in him to do anything like that. Just to do whatever is necessary. So I did like it. So in this situation, I do care. But the question is, And this is the thing that gets me, and I'm hoping that Impact will do this. What's going on with Monsters Balls will be done again, but at the pay-per-view. Maybe at Rebellion, or maybe Slammiversary or Bound for Glory for that matter. We get another match for the X Division, but this time it's in a Monsters Ball situation. And maybe it will be at Slammiversary or Rebellion. Well, not Rebellion, but Slammiversary or maybe Bound for Glory. I'm thinking that Monsters Ball was a test try to see how people would react to seeing that the X Division is in this match. I'm glad they did it. And I'm hoping they do it again, maybe this year for one of the signature pay-per-views as Slammiversary or Bound for Glory, and they keep Option C proper. Do it for Bound for Glory, please. Please. And that's just me. And I hope you really enjoy this Trey popping his cherry. Please give me I can't believe I said that. He's popping his cherry. When the cherry pop is just Janice digging into his skull. That's where the cherry pop comes in. I believe I'm going to use that shot. It's in my face again. Peace.